Okay, here we go.
So we're live now. I mean, I don't know if things have gone somewhat kinetic in Washington. Greg and I have a bet going for 50 wax, not $50 for the wax, which I'm excited about because I thought that was a little crazy, but I was like, still like, I'll do it, but 50 wax, which is like, I don't know, like $1 or something. Actually, it's $2. So we have 50 wax bet that McConnell is not going to bring the impeachment thing to a vote before the end of his term as leader. And I cannot wait to lose this bet. I'm super excited about losing this bet. I still do not think that I will lose this bet, but I feel less confident about that every couple hours. So there's that. And obviously we have a song to play down the road. And this is where
we already have a request. Well, we want to do our intro thing first, and then we'll get right into that.
You did just laugh.
I did.
Yeah, nailed it. Let's wait until we hit 20 people in the stream before we play the song, because I want to make sure everybody gets to kind of share that with us. If you haven't yet, please share this out. I'm actually going to go to Facebook and do that myself. And anyway, so yeah, Silvestri, I was 100% with you. He will be impeached in the House. I think that's basically a fait accompli at this point. He will not be convicted in the Senate. I am no longer confident of that at all. I saw a tweet yesterday, and like all the stuff we're seeing about McConnell now, McConnell's like, Trump can go fuck himself. Like that's real, right?
Exactly that. He's not. He and Biden had a phone call yesterday.
See, this is interesting.
Potential to integrate a schedule for cabinet approvals, like cabinet confirmations and the impeachment. So
when does the Senate switch hands?
Say that again. On the 22nd.
Yeah. So I mean, I still think, because McConnell is a snake. He's got a week and a half where he can do nothing and get a massive amount of benefit. Right. All he said, he's not going to whip the vote. He's not going to whip the vote in 2 weeks. Right. And in 2 weeks, it's going to be a Democrat-run thing. He's not going to have any choice. They're going to run impeachment. They're going to do all this stuff, right? And so basically, Biden's calling him up and saying, hey, like, can we do confirmations at the same time and basically, like, organize this stuff? And will you combat that as a minority leader? None of this actually says that they'll vote before Inauguration Day. None of it at all, right?
Okay, so our bet, for those that want to know the specifics here, my contention is that by Friday night, Mitch McConnell will call the House back, or the Senate back into session, so that they can proceed with an impeachment trial.
I mean, we were actually talking about the vote in the bet, but I actually want to change that in your favor. If he starts the trial more than 24 hours before inauguration, you win. I don't think he will. I think he's going to do it either the day of or the day after, or just not do it at all. Right? Like McConnell gains nothing by just doing, by doing this earlier. So we'll see. By the way, we do have a song for you guys. It is impeachment day in the hizzy. When we get to 19 concurrent viewers, we're currently at 11. We're going to play the tune. We deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve this. Damn it. So if you could, go and share this out. I'm actually going to do the same thing. And we'll make shit happen. How about that?
I like this idea. Jimmy, isn't it better to have him impeached than just ensure that he is not pardoned by the Republican Party? He can't be pardoned by the Republican Party. He can only be pardoned by a president.
Yeah.
So if he is impeached and removed, then it would still be possible for Mike Pence to pardon him. I'm thinking that's less likely now than it was.
You know what you can't pardon him for? A vote by the Congress under the 14th Amendment.
Right, and there's a technical feasibility here that if Schumer and McConnell agree to call the Senate back into session for a vote on the 14th, that might be a bargaining point. So we'll have to see where that goes. It might happen faster and maybe even easier than impeachment. It might be like yesterday. I saw Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, floating the idea that potentially, we would probably, I'd be able to get enough votes for a censure. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, the point is that
I have something in my
bargaining
pocket.
phase.
Please
right?
hold.
They're looking to bargain. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course they are. Of course they are. Right. And so that's good. And I know most of you guys know, but Kevin McCarthy is a raging Trumpian jerk nozzle. So, you know, in case anybody's wondering how far that ship has fallen. Yeah, they're trying to get off the ship. I mean, there's I just sent to Greg and the team on the message thread a little while ago. The National Guard is sleeping in the Capitol right now. I asked Greg what his percentage chance he thought of a new attack on the Capitol or somewhere, right? Some state capital perhaps was, and he said 80%, and I can't really argue with that. Like, I think, you know, there's a why exactly what's changed, right? Because like, is Trump's tone changed? No, not really, right? He's still like earballing. And now, you know, they've been pushed underground because everything's been, they've been taken down from Parlay. You poor suckers. Anyway,
I can't get past this picture. I'm just, this is who we are right now.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Oh, that's weird. Babs' phone is over here.
No, we're still at 14.
Yep. Share it out, everybody.
Share it out. Share it out. I like, there's so much going on that is sort of drinking from the fire hose this morning. I want to point out that Kristen Welker from NBC News she's the White House correspondent now. Hallie Jackson has been promoted, and she's reporting that the circle of people around Donald Trump this morning is extremely, extremely small. And I keep to my prediction that
hold.
This is exactly how this is always going to end.
Please allow me. I think we were sitting on the dock. It was this long ago. Like, we were. It was coffee on the dock, which is right after the election. And Greg said, and we've immortalized it many times since then, that he thinks that eventually it's going to be Trump, Ivanka, and a fax machine in the White House. And lo and behold, like, that might be happening right now.
Yeah, they put out a push poll from the White House last night to ask Republican voters if they thought that impeachment of Donald Trump would be bad for the country. But it was a very small poll because they did not have any people in place to run it. So it's a skeleton crew at the White House, hallways empty with papers blowing down them. Yes, those soldiers are in the Capitol building. That is, I wish I could tell you what room that is. That looks like the entrance to Statuary Hall. I've seen other pictures of them throughout the Capitol catching a nap now while they can, and they will be there through the inauguration. So yeah.
Once we get to 20 viewers, we're playing the tune. We're gonna do it.
Yep. Trump lost access to his YouTube channel.
Did he really?
Yes.
You know why? I saw Steve Smith and a few other people. Oh, you know, Sacha Baron Cohen tweeted this yesterday. It's like, it's kind of amazing that his YouTube channel still works. I wonder why companies are still sending their advertising dollars to YouTube. And this is 12 hours. This is 12 hours later. Those companies were like, you were right, Sacha Baron Cohen. We are fucking done now. So that's a thing. Yeah, the song is available on iTunes, so you can peach him anytime.
I like it.
Yeah, we don't even. So the Pornhub thing started as a joke, and Pornhub, because they're not stupid at all. They came out and said, "Yeah, no, fuck that guy."
Yeah.
I approve. 17. We got 3 more. Get the song ready.
That's all cute. Hey, I'll play it right now. You're the one that said
19. I just want to wait. I just wanted to give us a goal. We're so close. So for the new people that have showed up, the second we hit 20 viewers on the thing, we just hit 20. Drop it.
Okay, shoot the DJ because I
forgot
to enable audio.
Hot. Please.
All right.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, can you make it louder?
Nope.
Damn it. I'm turning myself up. Here's to get kicked off YouTube today.
Some people say that he's guilty. Some people say, I don't know. Some people say, give him a chance. Oh, some people say, wait till he convict him. He's the president. 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 Oh, no, you can't do that, man. No. He's the president. Shut up, fool. He's the president. He's the president. He's the president. Oh, yeah. Behind the walls of the White House, there's a lot of things that we don't know about. Behind the walls of the White House, there's a lot of things that we should know about.
Oh, we're gonna miss him when he's gone, though.
Who's gonna
Wait.
what?
Wait, no, we're not. We're not gonna miss him when he's gone.
No.
Maybe we should just play that song once in a while for nostalgia.
That I will do. All right.
Yeah.
If only we could have been playing this at the same time.
I just thought that.
Oh. Yeah.
All right. So what's happening right now is debate on the House floor regarding impeachment is ongoing. I don't know if we want to dip into that or not. There's other things that I want to make sure we talk about this morning. For instance, everyone getting arrested and losing their job storming the Capitol for storming the Capitol. Now they know why their grandparents wore hoods. I mean, there really was a reason they wore hoods, because they were all the lawyers, the police chief, the judge.
I know we've got a lot more left to talk about, but that's the kind of moment where you end the show.
That's exactly why the Klan wore hoods. They did not want to be identified during Reconstruction by federal authoritions. I mean,
Sylvester,
show me the lie.
I kind of feel like
I've already seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
meme it again. I was gonna make me mad.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I would cover that.
Yeah. Also,
It is what it is.
conservatives can't tech #parlor.
Oh Jesus!
So the website design was done with what's it called? A word. What's the name of the simple build it yourself website?
WordPress.
WordPress, and essentially, it was eminently hackable from day one.
Well, and like they were like, well, we need to make sure we can prove who people are. So you're definitely gonna have to send us in your KYC, know your customer stuff, which is your ID, blah, blah, all that stuff, right? And so like, let's like spend $0 on securing that, right? And we're funded by the Mercers, who are billionaires.
Oh, and they are also what's the name of that company again? Cambridge Analytica.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So data collection.
It's not like they could have asked, right? They're like, hey, Mercer family, do you guys know how to do this KYC thing? Like, no, you're not going to get hacked. You're fine. Oh, so there's no white hat hackers out there that are going to steal literally every piece of data and tracking data and freaking GPS signal data and then including your fucking ID, so the cops can roll right up to your house. Like, that's not going to happen. There's no white hat hacker who's just going to go like 90 terabytes full of data of all your stupid fucking clown videos from inside the Capitol. You don't think that's going to happen? Oh, weird. Okay, cool. Okay. Cool.
Not only that, here's some things we haven't heard about yet. The astonishing number, array, and quality of video cameras inside the Capitol building. All of that is now, I'm sure, in being cross-matched. Also, about 10 years ago now, they greatly beefed up the Capitol's Wi-Fi infrastructure because of all the heavy marble, thick walls, thick floors, thick ceilings. It was very hard to get signal. So they put Wi-Fi repeaters throughout the Capitol, and those are also. Yeah. So if someone said you were in a room and there's a photo of you in a room, they can now go to your cell phone data and verify with 1 meter accuracy that you were in that room. So there is a whole lot of technical expertise being brought to bear right now to get these people punished. But I want to talk for a minute about, I saw the lawsuit response by Amazon Web Services to Parler. Parler is suing them, for shutting down their free speech.
They're gonna lose. I'll just tell you.
Well, yeah, they're gonna lose bad. But what I want to talk specifically about in that is that there's a list, a bullet point list of examples of the kind of content or of the specific content among the tens of thousands of things that Amazon Web Services flagged to Parler saying you need to handle this. One of them is a direct threat on the life of Elaine Chao, the transportation secretary, the wife of Mitch McConnell. And I have a feeling that part of why we are where we are with Mitch McConnell this morning is because they threatened to rape and kill his wife on Parler 3 or 4 days before the insurrection and invasion of the Capitol building. So, I mean, if anybody, it's in the lawsuit filing. Today is only the 13th. If anybody showed that to Mitch McConnell in the last day or so, I could see. Now, I think it's right that conservatives only get head up about things like that when it's their personal, their family themselves.
Yeah.
Am I happy about that? No. But if that's what it takes, right? I mean, it checks out, right?
Exactly.
That he would get that. That's when he would want to take action.
So the same thing probably happened with Liz Cheney or something like it, right? Like they got put in danger and then they react. They just they're like individuality or individualism is their mental illness, right? Like we kind of know this at this point. But whatever. Like as long as we kind of get through this, we can start working on their empathy later on.
Mikey Sherrill, who was a Navy chopper pilot and a prosecutor, is saying this morning that there were at least 3 members of the House that were giving tours to people that were later photographed and filmed inside the Capitol during the insurrection and invasion. Alana Presley is saying this morning that all of the panic buttons in her office had been ripped out before this. When they went looking for panic buttons on the day of the insurrection, they could not find them. They had been removed. So I'm absolutely sure there was inside help from the House. I think we need to focus on Ted Cruz. I think we need to focus on Boebert. Sorry, Elizabeth, that you have to deal with her being from your state. She's the one that's now trying to ignore the metal detectors and say she can carry her gun on the floor of the House. And
like she was probably one of the ones giving people tours the other day as well. Like she
absolutely tweeted from the floor that where the Speaker of the House was after they had been asked by Capitol Police not to tweet about their locations.
So, yeah, Rachel was talking last night about the fact that the prosecutors that are brought in to deal with this are civil prosecutors. They're going after the politicians. And they're going after them for sedition and insurrection, which comes with, 20-year terms. Because we've done this Civil War thing before. And, so they wrote some things into the Constitution to maybe dissuade that a little bit. And so they should come down like a freight train full of hammers, which is a weird image, but there it is. Yeah, Ted Cruz. Apparently, a couple of the people that were running around breaking shit and doing the absolute worst, who have since been arrested, had the phone numbers of 2 of Ted Cruz's aides in their pocket.
Oh, it was the guy that with the Molotov cocktails and the weapons in his vehicle.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. So like,
it's not just somebody who was in there.
And
this
like,
is
could
somebody
they
who came
get
there
it?
and meant harm.
Right. Could they get it? Maybe.
Sure.
Right. Like, could somebody have like called those numbers and like sent them around like I'm a fucking clown.com and for support or whatever? But they think that they'll support them. Yeah. I don't know. Like, why Ray hasn't like.
Why did they send the local acting state attorney for Washington, D.C. to this press conference yesterday? Why not the acting director of is there now an acting director of Department of Homeland Security? Christopher Wray, director of the FBI. Listen. During the Standing Rock protests, the heads of these agencies were doing fucking press conferences, and we know that they were abusively enforcing the anti-protest laws. Then we know that during the Black Lives Matter protest, the fucking Attorney General of the United States was standing out there with his arms folded across his chest, watching as protesters were gassed and beaten to clear a way for the fucking president. There's no excuse for the heads of these departments. What? Did you just get that?
What? No. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm getting this is a test of the emergency alert system audio.
On Facebook?
Oh, it's on the MSNBC tab. It's okay. Yeah, okay.
All right.
But even though I have it muted, the audio came across, so that was like
interesting. Like the Christopher Wray thing. If anyone has any theories, I'd love to hear them. I literally don't even have a theory as to why that would be the case. This is really messed up. On Lawrence O'Donnell last night, they showed a video of the asshole Tulsa Republican Mark Wayne Mullen refusing to wear a mask with others, and now a 75-year-old member of Congress with cancer has COVID. Mullen was the asshole wearing jeans and a stupid beard laughing. I mean, they've been doing this the whole time, right? Every time they get in a room, all the Republicans laugh, oh, you stupid, scared, Democrats or whatever. Because they're just, they don't understand the science behind this at all, or they refuse to, and they don't give a fuck about human life unless it's theirs or their, kids or whatever. Again, because we see this over and over and over and over again, with the people in this particular tribe, which is kind of upsetting. Yes. The answer.
Well, I want a warning that not all of those are actually people that were related to the protests. Some of them were removed for not wearing masks, and they were crying about being labeled terrorists. So there's a mixed bag there. But the best thing of all is the super mix of those set to Eric Clapton's Layla, like the last scene in Goodfellas, where they're all being rounded up or executed. It was, yeah, I like that. It was good.
Yeah, there's definitely some Schadenfreude going on up in this weirdness.
Yeah.
So yeah, things are going on.
Do we want to dip into some NBC coverage or not? What do you think?
We can, if you think it's interesting, we can. I mean, it's
well,
sort
I'm
of
not actually listening, but let's see.
Yeah, Mom just said Jayapal is positive now as well. Her test the day before was negative. So, and you never know, right? But being locked in a room with a bunch of assholes that aren't wearing masks.
It's interesting that the three House members who have come forward to say they're COVID positive are all Democrats. Why aren't the Republicans saying so?
Dude, because they're lying sacks of shit who won't tell anyone.
Yeah, because they want to infect other people, or they want to
like
pretend they're badasses. I don't even know.
I think it's the pretending they're like. I think that the tribe is so mentally ill now that that sign of strength is like, look at me, I don't care. You're gonna hurt someone else, but it doesn't make sense to them apparently, or they just don't give a shit, which seems to be the case.
So Chuck Rosenberg, former federal prosecutor, is talking about.
Oh, hey, do you want to do? I can get video on this.
There's a video. There needs to be a lot more from the top.
Why isn't that up?
Speaking of gathering information and evidence, because
sorry, I'm not sure why the video wasn't coming across there.
I can get it in a couple of seconds if it doesn't come up. Oh, it looks like.
And it should slow their process in terms of when they vote.
No, sorry.
I have it. Hold on. Please hold.
Oh, Neil Katyal is on now. So.
investigations, that we are looking at how many people may have conspired to overthrow the government, or whether murder or assaults were actually planned, and even whether members of police departments were involved.
His
whether
podcast
members
is
of
good
Congress,
too, by the way.
as has been suggested, may have been involved. We need to know all this stuff. We need to make individualized determinations. We need to take our time, and we need to get it right. But the Attorney General sets the tone and tells us what we should be aware of. And I think he's failed to do that, Hallie. Glad there's a video. There needs to be a lot more from the top.
Gathering information and evidence, because more is being gathered every day, Neil, as it relates to the impeachment. Rich Lowry noted it earlier. Is there an argument to be made that perhaps the Senate should slow their process in terms of when they vote? It seems that with every passing day, more damning evidence is coming out.
Well, there's no doubt that I think if we have another week of the Donald Trump presidency, he's going to give us another article or two of impeachment, given the way he behaves. But it's kind of ironic that you hear Republicans now all of a sudden saying they want more investigation and so on. In the last impeachment, they were the ones trying to shut everything down. And I think at least for impeachable offenses, I don't know what there is to investigate with respect to the one charge that the Congress is debating today. The president's actions speak for themselves. Now, if this were a criminal proceeding and we were talking about mens rea, that standard of criminal intent, I think we would want some investigation and interviewing into the president's people around them, the president's text messages, and so on, in order to get at that. And I suspect that that investigation will happen in due course on the criminal side. But impeachable offenses don't require crimes whatsoever. And this is, as Liz Cheney said, the paradigmatic example of an impeachable offense.
Man, I wish we could listen to Ilhan Omar right now.
His most fundamental to the American people, which is to support the government of the United States.
You know, Ari Melber, the ultimate goal
C-SPAN, Greg?
for many Republicans quietly that I've talked to about this, they concur with the ultimate goal, figuring out a way to bar him from ever holding federal office again. Is there any other way, in your view, to do this other than through the impeachment process?
Great question, Chuck. This is the most direct way. That's why we're seeing it. And a Senate vote to convict can then have a separate vote to bar him from office. That's why Mitch McConnell and the conversations you've been covering throughout this broadcast this morning are so relevant. This is not just about a re-impeachment or a rerun. It's about whether the Senate bars Donald Trump for office from life. The other ways that the Constitution provides this have never been used on a president. We've covered the 25th Amendment. I think viewers know that that was generally understood to be for medical reasons, and that's not currently going anywhere according to the people who have to do it in the cabinet. The references to the 14th Amendment involve rebellion and treasonous type conduct that historically was understood to require a conviction, meaning it's not, unlike impeachment, it's not something the Senate just does. It would require using the fact that someone had been in rebellion to bar them. There is some legal debate on that. I've seen law professors and experts on both sides. What there isn't is any precedent on that, Chuck. So if you want something that's bulletproof to the Supreme Court, it's door number one through the Senate to convict and then vote to bar.
That's the best argument I've heard from you and others about why you're sort of stuck with almost this process. I think there are people that you would love to bypass it, but there may not be a constitutionally sound way to do it. Let's get back into the debate on the floor over this process.
For our nation, for our children, and for our grandchildren. And I'll be voting for impeachment so that America will once again be the shining city upon the hill, whose beacon light guides freedom-loving people everywhere. I urge my colleagues to join me and vote for impeachment. With that, I yield.
The gentleman yields. The gentleman from Massachusetts reserved. Gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I continue to reserve.
Gentleman from Oklahoma reserved. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
May I ask the gentleman how many more speakers he may have? Whenever the gentleman is prepared to close, we'll close. We were hopeful that one of our speakers could arrive, but difficult circumstances, they're just having a hard time getting here. I think we have exhausted all of our speakers. Is my friend prepared to close?
Oh, is that person having a hard time getting here because they won't go through the fucking metal detector?
Gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you very much,
Muted,
Mr.
buddy.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield myself the balance of my time. Speaker, I want to thank you for presiding over these difficult proceedings today. I want to thank my good friend, the distinguished chairman of the Rules Committee, and I want to thank everybody that came to the floor, had something to say at an important moment. And I think the debate, while spirited, reflected the civility and decency of the institution that we're all privileged to be part of. And I'm very proud to have been part
You're
of it.
muted.
Very proud of all the members and the manner in which they participated. I want again to thank the staff and thank those who kept us safe in the process, particularly the Capitol Police.
Okay, this is a Republican. He's not like Jim Jordan. He's like, no, everyone was very civil. Yay, let's impeach the motherfucker.
He's the ranking member of the Rules Committee, so
They're like, this feels
they
very
wouldn't give Jim
different.
Jordan the keys to the fucking broom closet.
Not anymore.
So
yeah, probably because he like. Anyway, I'm not going to make that joke.
It's a good question, Fred. Whoever is presiding over the process is called the Speaker, not just the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who was presiding there, but Mr. Speaker would be whoever's presiding over this particular session.
There's still a way to unite the country. Let us look forward, not backward. Let us come together,
I spoke
not
too
backward.
soon.
Let us celebrate the peaceful transition of power to a new president rather than impeaching an old president.
After a bunch of our people, incited by the president, killed some fucking cops 100 yards from here. Go fuck yourself.
Better than that, Mr. Speaker, and the American people deserve better than that. Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues, as they reflect on this minute and we move into our next stage of debate, to remember that we're all privileged to represent a great and a good people who've gone through a horrifying and tragic time, and that we owe them the opportunity to reflect, and we owe them our best efforts to bring together. I know people on this floor feel very passionately about this subject with different points of view. I honor each one of those points of view, and I honor the people that voice them. Let's remember when we're through this, that we're one people, that we have one purpose, that we're free through the grace of God and millions of brave Americans over centuries of time, and we will remain that way, and we will move forward together once we settle this debate. With that,
That's a
Mr.
fact right
Speaker,
there.
I urge my colleagues to vote no on the previous question, no on the rule, no on the underlying measure, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let me thank my friend, the ranking member of the Rules Committee, Mr. Cole, for his friendship and for the way he conducts himself in this chamber. I know he has great respect for this institution. Mr. Speaker, it is impossible for me to fully capture the reverence that I have for the United States Capitol. You know, I worked on these grounds starting back when I was a college intern, working for Senator George McGovern back in 1977. No relation. Great last name.
I was just wondering that.
Since that time, I have done everything from working as a staffer for Congressman Joe Moakley of Massachusetts to being elected to the United States House of Representatives myself. But that internship will always be a high point of my life. Coming here for the first time, walking these hallowed halls, and seeing the glory of American democracy up close. The idea that someone would incite an out-of-control mob of homegrown fascists and domestic terrorists to desecrate the people's house fills me with a deep sadness for our country. The contempt that these people had for our democracy and our freedom fills me with horror. And what Donald Trump did, encouraging them, fills me with rage. Rage, not just on behalf of all of those serving here, but all of those who work in these halls. And I'm talking about the reporters, the cafeteria workers, the custodians, the clerks, the parliamentarians. I go on and on and on. And the staff, the Democratic staff, the Republican staff, the nonpartisan support staff, who were terrorized, some hiding under their desks and barricading in their offices. I was in the Speaker's chair the day this unfolded, and many of the people who are sitting up there now were present at that time. What a horrifying thing for anybody to have to experience. Now, some of my Republican friends have been trying to lecture us about unity here today. Unity, after they voted to overturn a free and fair election in the United States of America, but also preaching unity and not acknowledging that for 4 years, many of them give oxygen to Donald Trump's conspiracy theories, to the big lies. They turned the other way in the face of racism and bigotry and how he embraced some of the most intolerant voices in this country. They just let it go. You know, I will remind everybody here that words have consequences. And ignoring words that are wrong also have consequences. You know, what happened would never have happened if everybody stood up in unity and called out the president when he was not telling the American people the truth, when he was pushing a big lie. We will never have unity without truth and also without accountability. This week in Congress, we saw the best of us and the worst of us. Some of my colleagues have shown that they will defend this president no matter what he does. There's nothing that he could do that would dissuade them from all-out support. But some are standing up and doing the right thing under tremendous pressure. And I am proud of that. And I honor them for their courage. This impeachment resolution outlines the truth of what Trump did. It is time that this Congress now holds him accountable for his words and for their devastating impact. Last week, we took an oath to protect this nation. As history calls on us today, I pray that we all have the moral clarity to uphold it here today. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time, and I move the previous question on the resolution.
The
All right,
question is
watching
on order, and the
C-SPAN on
previous
another page,
question
voting is
on
underway.
The resolution. Those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Those opposed, no.
Oh,
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
In the opinion of the
On
chair,
that, I would
shut
request
up.
the yeas and nays.
Pursuant to Section 3S of House Resolution 8, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device.
All right. We are going to, now they're going to vote. And Hallie Jackson, Stephanie Rule. Look, there's a lot of ways that those of us in the business of that we're told to try to read tea leaves. There's a lot of ways to read tea leaves in a congressional back and forth like this. Stephanie, when you find that you have members of Congress that voluntarily give up time to speak, tells you so much about how much they really don't have to say about this impeachment. I was just floored that basically the House Republicans said, yeah, we're pretty much done. Let's speed this along. That is more important of a tell than I think.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean to jump on the other thing there.
To have the floor and have the big audience that they have. But it speaks to the fact that so few Republicans are willing to say that last week's protest, those rioters were Republicans. Are you hearing from any former Republican president, former Republican cabinet members stand up and refer to those people last week as Republicans? They're not. No, very, very few people consider them that. And because of that, that grossly damages President Trump's status as a post-administration kingmaker. They're not saying a word.
And Chuck, can I jump in here too? It's not just House Republicans, and there are, listen, you know, he's going to have some of his defenders. Where are the president's surrogates that have been out on the air, right? Look at the last 24 hours. Who have you seen out there defending the president on the airwaves, as we so often have seen during crisis again and again in this administration? You know, the loyal cadre of the president's supporters get out there on various cable networks and say their piece.
Means they have not yet voted. Those are votes that have not been counted yet. That's what NV means.
President was yesterday over on Fox. There has not been that kind of full court press like you've sometimes seen in the past, Chuck, on the White House side either.
Let's bring in, we've got Congressman Seth Moulton, Democrat from Massachusetts, who is joining us now. And Congressman, I would love for you to weigh in on what we just saw. We were a bit stunned at the Republicans basically handing back the mic, that they basically ran out of defenders, which I thought said something.
Right?
You're a member of Congress. You know how these rules committee.
Your Honor, my client did it.
Not a surprise to you.
Can we go home now?
It says a lot, Chuck. You're absolutely right. And I have great respect, not just for my colleague, Jim McGovern from Massachusetts, but for Tom Cole from Oklahoma as well. Mm-hmm. And what you heard from him and his argument was essentially, we're going to achieve unity by sweeping this under the rug. It's a very weak argument. What Jim McGovern said is, we will have accountability and then we can have unity. We need truth and accountability first. And I think the American people, and indeed most of the Republican Party, knows that that is true. I mean,
why am I just now realizing that Seth Moulton looks like Harvey Dent from the Batman movies?
Whoa.
This is the worst action that any president in American history has taken. And it truly is. Like, let's not forget, the commander-in-chief's #1 responsibility is to keep us safe. And he not only failed in that responsibility, he actually incited violence against us, against fellow Americans, against the government that he is supposed to lead. If we don't hold this president accountable for the worst action of any president in American history, through all the bad presidents, racist presidents, and other presidents that we've had, if we don't hold him accountable, what message does that send to future generations of Americans, to future presidents?
But Congressman, how do you feel about your own personal safety? Many are making the argument that this impeachment will only fan the flames and incite more violence. Your life was at risk 1 week ago.
Well, my life was at much greater risk when I was overseas in Iraq, and I'm always proud to put my life on the line for the country. This is the right thing to do right now. And you know, Stephanie, some people think that when you see the cultish adulation that so many Republicans have for Trump, or even the eagerness for violence that some of his extremists.
I feel like we should stay with this until
we
have a vote total.
Revel in the opportunity
that makes sense to me.
To impeach him for the second time, for the first time in American history, to impeach a president twice.
This is fucking history for sure.
I don't revel in this.
I think
This
people
is a
watching this
sad
1,000
day
years from now, and Corey's
for
like,
me
yeah, this
as
is fucking
an American
history, man.
Patriot.
This might be important.
I'm a Democrat, but I'm an American first. And this is not what I came to Congress to do. We're not impeaching Donald Trump because we want to do it. We're impeaching him because of what he did. And it's unfathomable. And now is not a time to be concerned about the politics of the moment, about the first few days of Joe Biden's term, or frankly, even about our personal safety. Now is a time to be concerned about the future of our country. And ensuring a bright future of our country is what I'm here in Washington to do.
Congressman, it's Hallie Jackson. You're talking about accountability here. Some of the argument that we've heard from Republicans has been about this idea of unity, right? So you have accountability and unity. Can those two things exist at the same time, or are they mutually exclusive? And do you give credence to that point from some people on the other side of the aisle?
Hallie, I think they have to exist at the same time. I mean, as a practical matter, we've just been talking in our office about how we continue to work with Republicans who have implicitly supported this violence. How
ho-hum.
Work with them next week on a joint bill, a piece of legislation, a shared priority for our national defense. We're not even sure how to move forward with some of these people because of what they've done, the violence that they have implicitly supported. If we have accountability first, that equation changes. So I think we need accountability. We need truth before we can have unity.
After this, Congressman, does that mean, and I'm going to single out Mo Brooks in particular, but you know, you could get anywhere from 4 to about 8 of these members of Congress, perhaps Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Paul Gosar. What you just talked about, the difficulty of working across the aisle with some of these folks. Are they dangers to the institution? Do they need to be expelled?
They are. They are absolutely dangerous to the institution. And we're fundamentally a country of laws. I mean, the basic premise of this argument is that nobody in America, even the president of the United States, is above the law. That's why, whether it's the end of his term or no matter what, we've got to hold the president accountable for what he did. And the same argument applies to my colleagues in Congress. I mean, Mo Brooks was down there on the ellipse inciting the violence himself. Some of the things that Mo Brooks said were worse than what Donald Trump said. You've got this new congresswoman from Colorado who was apparently live tweeting the location of Nancy Pelosi, who we know this mob was trying to assassinate. Are you kidding? We're not going to hold them accountable? They don't deserve to be members of Congress. I'm embarrassed that they are my colleagues. And frankly, the American people and all their constituents back home, they should be embarrassed too.
Congressman Seth Moulton, Democrat from Massachusetts. Appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective with us this morning. Thank you, sir. Please stay safe.
Elizabeth, I think there should be anywhere between 5 and maybe as many as 15 or 20 Republicans cross the line here.
And I'm sure you are too. It's rare that Congress does things faster than we expect, but there's clearly not that many folks on the Republican side of the aisle willing to go on the record to try to make this argument. So tell us how this speeds things up.
So, Chuck, that's actually one of the most things that I was anticipating coming into today. I was really interested to see how Republicans came to the floor and either defended the president or argued against these articles of impeachment. And as you pointed out, Republicans didn't use all of their allotted time. Of course, we heard from Representative Cole of Oklahoma. He had to speak. He is the top Republican on the Rules Committee that governs the debate on the House floor. So he was the representative who had to speak about this, and he took the position of the majority of the Republican Party against it. Now, what we're seeing here is we're seeing the first vote in a 2-vote series. This is the Republican alternative. What it does is they call for setting up a bipartisan commission to investigate the events around January 6th. Now, this vote is expected to fail. It's a Republican messaging vote. It's their way to show that they want to do something about the atrocities of January 6th. The next vote that they're going to have is the vote on the rule on the impeachment article. Now, what the rule does is it just sets the parameters of the debate. The main thing to know is...
No, Lori, this passes without any Republicans, but significantly 0 Republicans in the House voted for the last impeachment. So any would be an improvement.
It just sets the parameters of the debate. It's a process thing. But as you noted earlier, it is also a test vote because many members who do vote for the rule are the ones who also vote for the actual legislation. So we will be watching very closely to see if there's more than 5 Republicans who come out in support of this rule governing the impeachment article, which will give us a good indication of where people stand on the actual article, Chuck.
Leanne Caldwell on the Hill for us. Leanne, thank you.
Oh, so this is just a procedural rules vote now.
Steele.
Oh, that's boring.
Rich Lowry, play the whip counter here on the House Republican side. Does the fact that we saw them sort of punt the debate quicker tell you, is this going to be, are we going to get to 2 dozen? I think there's an over-under of 20, and I'm taking the over. Where are you?
I'm probably under that. I don't think it's a dam break. What I read from just not wanting to.
Okay, so we shouldn't be alarmed watching this vote if we don't see any Republicans vote for it. This is basically to end debate and move to vote to impeach or not to impeach. So this is the vote to move it forward, not the actual impeachment vote. Just want to be clear on that. So we should probably wrap up. We could come back later. I may or may not have something I have to do at 5. I have to check my calendar to see what happened there. But I may have an appointment when they're voting to impeach the president of the United States later today. Freaking life interfering with my fun.
I know, right?
That's the way it goes.
Geraldo is speaking out against Trump now. Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah, way to get out there in front of it.
Aren't you brave?
Yeah. This is like the last of the Nazis trying to negotiate with the Russians after Hitler was locked in a bunker.
Luckily, they haven't killed 6 million people yet.
You remember when we told them they would all lose their credibility by speaking up for Trump?
We did. We said that. We said that like what? 5 years ago?
A lot. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Again, like if for the people that want to completely and totally disavow all of this stuff and say, "Holy crap, we were wrong," prove to us that you understand the level of how wrong it was, and admit all of the things that we now know are actually freaking true things that have been all settled in court and do that, vote to impeach, and then unity's on the table. Like, we're excited about that. But if you just want to be like, hey, I know we kind of sided with the people that just tried to kill all of your friends, but like, you should just fuck you.
Yeah, this is the night after he threatened to kill you. Now he's knocking on the door saying, "Hey, baby, please let me in because we can work this out."
Yeah, no,
fuck off.
You get the metaphysical head, but sorry.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Shoo. Yeah, I don't know if that's verified. They let her in last night without searching her purse, even though she set off a metal detector. So I guess fuck it. If you want to break the rules for everyone else's safety. If you want to re-traumatize people, I guess,
To stop. Like, every one of these things is precedent setting.
Yep.
They got to think that way, for sure.
Yeah.
Marry Trump, censure, expel, indict, convict, imprison. I mean, by all means, threaten me with a good time.
I also want to point out that Boebert's criminal history is worth a Google search.
Really?
This is a person who shouldn't be trusted with a car, let alone a fucking gun.
Oh, my.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So,
All right.
she's been quite the getting arrested for felony speed, for reckless driving, for careless driving, for, all sorts of public safety violations, not just, little shit. So she's an awful person.
All right. Fair enough.
She's the one that made the commercial about I'm going to carry my Glock into the Congress and there's nothing they can do to stop me. She ran on that and won. So,
all right. Say the thing.
Yeah, so much like a twice impeached president, Sasquatch is real.
Actually, you know what? Because people have been asking about music, there's like a tiny little bit of sort of music that I can play. Please hold, and then we'll break. You guys are awesome. Ciao.
What if we could turn this song into a school and change hundreds of lives forever?
Tension and solace. There's no way that this pattern could do any harm. Here with you.
And scene.
Yeah.